Hello, this is Alfonso Escámez, and welcome to a new chapter of Indie Talks. Today, we are going to meet a brand of clocks with 185 years of history that has been characterized by the quality and clear DNA of their creation and has collaborated with a large number of brands. We have with us L'Épée 1839, and to know in depth more of brand, we have Christophe Gazarian, its international brand manager. Welcome, Chris. Thank you for being
Thank
with
you,
us.
Alfonso. Of course, a pleasure to speak with you and get the opportunity to share some more knowledge and information on L'Épée. So thank you for hosting me.
Today we are going to know more about clocks and less about watches, but they are related.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, something different. Okay, introduce yourself to the audience and followers. Who is Chris Gazarian? What is your role in L'Épée and your previous experience in watchmaking?
So I started my career, was my very first job in ever was in the watch industry. So I joined Audemars Piguet I think 2010, 11. And I spent several years on the commercial departments. Those fantastic years. I later on moved on to work in a high jewelry business for a high jewelry brand. And I ended up working at L'Épée. I wanted to come back to the horology and the creative horology. So I had this opportunity to join this such a beautiful, magnificent, exciting manufacturer. I was lucky really to throughout my career I started really from the bottom almost, and get to see moving up the different stages and work with all the different departments in our industry, getting highly involved and more importantly, work with passionate people. Had so many great memories, and I think this is what I like about working in this industry is that you work with great people. I was lucky really to find many different mentors in my background, and I think this is really rewarding, and it makes you keeps going in such a beautiful industry. I think I'm always grateful. It's not an easy industry to work with, to be honest, but I'm always grateful for the experience, even the goods and the bad, because at the end of the day, you keep learning and learning. And of course, L'Épée. So I'm the brand manager. I look after the business development, the sales, and also the marketing. So I have different hats because we're a small company. So I work alongside our CEO, Mr. Nicolas, who is also the creative director, and together we try to make the brand grow on multiple aspects. Of course, in terms of business development, sales, obviously, expanding to new markets, find new opportunities to develop, and also speak about the brand, work on the brand awareness. Being in a clock and not into watches is, of course, more challenging to bring more attention and awareness towards our company. But I think we're doing a pretty good job, step by step, and we're also quite proud now to be part of LVMH Group, which is a great milestone for the brand, and it's also the reward for all the work, the risks taken to really stay committed to what we wanted to achieve as a manufacturer, as a brand. So I think the future is bright for L'Épée.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about the history of the brand. How was the beginning of the L'Épée 1839, and what are your most important milestones? Who was Auguste L'Épée?
So L'Épée, first of all, I think L'Épée has such a rich history. We haven't explored everything yet, and our goal in the close future is to hire an historian to really dig in further on the history of L'Épée, because what L'Épée has achieved since 1839 is really remarkable. So first, L'Épée started as was founded by Auguste L'Épée, who's used to be an entrepreneur from Neuchâtel. He wanted to establish a manufacturer specialized in music boxes and watch components. So already in the 19th century, the manufacturer L'Épée was specialized in manufacturing the most difficult parts in the watch industry, which were the escapements. And at that time already, the brand, what the manufacturer was supplying, was really the chief supplier of all the, for instance, the escapements, platform escapements. So it was really one of the major supplier at that time, supplying the most celebrated watchmakers in the 19th century. And what's important is that in its history, L'Épée always tried to innovate and challenge itself. It participated a lot into Universal Expos and to introduce new inventions, patents applied to watchmaking. So really early, L'Épée brought several patents and technology innovation, which were given by a scientific jury. And this has really built up the legacy of L'Épée, because it used to be, it remained a family owned for a long, long time, with a really rich history. And there's, again, a lot of anecdotes, but it's really, I think we don't value enough the contribution of L'Épée to the watch industry now, because many of the patents developed, the inventions, the movements, the complications developed were further taken by other brands. But I think L'Épée was quite of a pioneer, being also created the same year as Patek Philippe, for instance. I mean, I think it has its own place in the industry, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. How do you define the brand DNA? Is still stick to Auguste L'Épée designs and inventions? And what do you think sets you apart from the rest?
So I think the DNA of L'Épée, I think L'Épée first is deeply rooted to watchmaking and clockmaking. This is very important. L'Épée developed many movements, clock movements and complications from various sizes and dimensions. There's a strong know-how, whether it's in terms of horology, obviously, but also in terms of craftsmanship. L'Épée was really known to manufacture all its parts by hand, to finish them by hand. So we tried to perpetuate that. And I think what's also been in the values of L'Épée was the passions towards the product, the passion to challenge yourself, to really innovate constantly, to explore new grounds. This is really what L'Épée achieved in its history, and we are trying to perpetuate that. And more recently, what we're doing again is to stay creative as possible, because I think as a brand, whether you're in the luxury business or not, I think if you want to be sustainable, also it's important to stay unique and remain as creative as possible. Sometimes we think that our industry is a bit conservative, and for us, we really like to challenge this industry. And obviously, the clocks themselves, they really offer a nice playground to express ourselves. And this is really what we want to perpetuate. Our motto is always to challenge ourselves, to remain creative. And I could say that never repeat the same thing. And this is how we've been building a growing interest for our creations. It's always to try to surprise ourselves and our audience.
Okay. We have been interviewing a lot of watch brands. You are the first clock brand. How different is to create a clock versus a wristwatch?
It's a great question, because we have probably a unique process compared to other watch brands. Basically, basically, if you look at any watch brands, usually brands are working on a movement, on a very nice movement, working on constraints of spaces and dimensions. And then around the movement, they build up a nice case. And around the case, they build up the story or some inspirations or some storytelling, some marketing. Ourselves, we basically are doing the complete opposite. So the story and the inspirations will really drive the entire creative process, from the design, engineering, even to the assembly, because everyone in the process at L'Épée is involved in somehow the creative and the development process. So for us, it's really the source of inspiration that really drive the conception, the definition of our product itself. And if you look at every single piece we made today, they are all different. The movement we developed is integrated in the design of the object itself, and everything makes sense. If you look at every single part, why are they located in a particular place or in a different place? It all makes sense, and it has a purpose. And I think probably it's where we differentiate ourselves. And what's also interesting about our creation is that we have a strong storytelling, obviously, but you have many different ways to introduce our pieces based on that like fantastic creative process. However, this is quite a challenging one because you always start from zero, from a blank page, and you need to, of course, to find the design. It's a long process with the engineering, and sometimes it could take up to 4 years. So yeah, it's something quite challenging.
Mm-hmm. How important was the acquisition of L'Épée by Arnaud Nicolas, your CEO? And because at that time the clock market was almost dying, and how did he change the brand and the future of the brand?
I think really the acquisition. Well, first, if you looked at the clock industry, in the 2000s, the clocks were kind of becoming old-fashioned. Nobody was interested in clocks anymore. Not even the retailers, even though it used to be. Clocks used to be something quite important for anyone. Our parents and grandparents, they needed to have a clock at home, a pendulum or something. Really, like, it was the heart of the home. But in the years, with the development of technology, all that, the clocks were almost dying, and L'Épée was really in a bad mood, in a bad condition, and Arnaud took over the company with an investor friend, and he had the vision to try to modernize the clocks and express himself, because Arnaud is really he has a strong engineering background. He worked in the space industry, the aeronautics, and I think he felt kind of stuck in such industry where to be creative, you cannot be creative in this kind of industry. So he really wanted to have his knowledge and expertise with his creativity. And I think clocks were a great platform to express in terms of engineering and design. And the really, since the acquisition, L'Épée really evolved in modern designs, moving to more conventional ones, like in 2 dimensions to 3 dimension sculptures, kinetic sculptures. And now we call them kinetic sculptures that give time. And it's really, a game changer, because we really kind of introduce a new interest, a new purpose to clockmaking with a different use. Now you owning a clock not just because of it tells time or because it's beautiful, but because it's emotional, because Of course, it's nicely made, but because of the all the intricacies, the design itself, the decorative dimension of the object, all as now its contribution to the growing interest of our objects.
Mm-hmm. You have, let's talk a little bit more about the brand. You have 3 different collections. Can you tell us a little bit the differences between these 3 collections?
Sure. So L'Épée carries 3 different collections, starting with what we call the carriage clocks. So the carriage clocks, we used to call them also the officers' clocks, was the very first clocks L'Épée used to make. So it was the ancestor of the pocket watches, and we still carry them in our assortment because it's really the DNA of L'Épée, and we're still selling them in some markets, whether it's métier d'art kind of pieces or more conventional clocks. But it's really where the brand started. So it's important to not forget your roots. Then we have a second category, which is the contemporary line, which is a more modern collections where we highlight the technical know-how of L'Épée, whether it's complications, movements with power reserve indicators, tourbillon, perpetual calendars, even chiming, striking mechanism. This is where we highlight that. And we have the creative outline that we launched in 2014 for the 175th anniversary of the brand, where we express ourselves in 3 dimensions, where we work with also different partners in collaborations with artists, designers, and brand to come up with really sculptures, horological sculptures. This is what really became successful for L'Épée. And we are lucky to be not lucky, but I think we became the pioneer in this kind of new creations. And we set up really our own standards. I mean, if we look around, nobody is making those kind of objects today. Mm-hmm. And we're quite proud of that.
But talking about this last collection, that is most probably the most successful one now for L'Épée. How do you choose your collaborators?
I mean, it's usually it goes from our creative director Arnaud and CEO. So I think for successful collaborations, there has to be a strong fit, a deeply rooted fit. If we look at the partnership we have with MBNF, I think it's all started with the great connections and collaboration between Max Bousser and Arnaud Nicolas. So when you have two masterminds, let's say, that really complete themselves, and this replicates towards the teams, you achieve great results, not only on the finished product or creation, but also on the entire process. And you create like a seamless collaborations that makes you want to continue and perpetuate those. So I think this is really important. And of course, in a more artistic dimensions, to work with different people, brands, artists, designers, I think it allows you to be as creative as possible. So it allows you to explore different worlds, different territories, and get more inspiration, obviously. And I think also is also good because that way you're not stuck in one particular style or aesthetics. And if you look at our creations, we are really, I think, I mean, we have a broad range of design. We are really different from one piece to another. And I think this is quite relevant and important for us.
Okay, have you ever thought about manufacturing wristwatches instead of clocks, or also wristwatches?
Yeah, I think L'Épée might have thought about that in the past, but L'Épée was really deeply rooted to clocks and clock making. So with the work that was done today, I personally think that for Lepe, even though they could create like tomorrow, if they want to make a watch, they could make it. But I think it wouldn't make sense in terms of brand and heritage, and also in the in the in the in the to in the vision, knowing the vision of the brand. I think it wouldn't make sense. And also given what we achieved. So our positioning and what makes Lepe really different and unique is through its creations, its clockmaking creation. So yeah, I think we have already a leading position, a natural leading position in clockmaking, if I can say that. So there is less interest to go into watches and compete with our friends.
What did it mean for a brand like Lepe? As you have said, Auguste Lepe won several gold medals and internationals
Yep.
exhibitions, and also you took part in a very important aeronautical project that it was the Concorde. Maybe
Yeah.
to the young ones is not also so well known, but it was an important project for you. No?
Yeah, I think it was also another challenging, another great anecdote for the brand. That's why I still believe that we are far from knowing everything from what the brand has achieved. But yeah, it's one of great anecdotes where Lepe was providing mechanical wall clocks to fit in the Concorde. I think, yeah, this is the first thing ever done in a supersonic commercial airplane. But yeah, I think it says a lot about the know-how. Also, that in the past we know for a fact that Lepe had worked for other industries, aeronautics, automotive, and I think it's something we're quite proud of. And I never had the chance to fly on the Concorde, unfortunately, but I mean, it was something amazing and to be associated to that amazing creation. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm sure that it gives you a lot of brand awareness, no, to be the official gift for the most important guest of the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana, right?
Yeah. So if we look back to the history of Lepe, so Lepe changed shareholders or ownership a few times, but it was the official gift of choice for some governments and royal courts, namely the French governments and also the British royal courts. Yeah, and for 10 years, yeah, Lepe was the official gift of the British royal courts, and they made a nice limited edition to commemorate the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana, and it was also one of our nice collaborations in the luxury field with Hermes, where Hermes was providing the casing of the clock. So I think this is something that is quite nice to know in the end. But when you're in that kind of business where you deal with officials and governments, it's a more confidential kind of activity, so you could less communicate on that. The only possibility is to go visit, if you go visit some states' houses, or like for instance, if you go to UK to the Prime Minister office, you would probably see a Lepe clock. If you go to the l'Élysée in Paris, you would definitely see a Lepe clock. I know for a fact also the Vatican has one. The Pope has one on its desks. So we were able to find out throughout, some pictures but and still today we're still selling or making special bespoke pieces for very important people, such as governments, other royal courts, And for us, we want to perpetuate that because it's not only a perpetuation of our tradition, kind of traditions to provide the gift to the some kind of elite people, but to also to continue this legacy because I think clocks, they make great gifting idea in the end, and they are quite some kind of emotional objects too. And for the prestige of manufacture, I think it's important. And we keep on going and doing that for sure.
Chris, how big is the company nowadays, and how do you see the future, let's say in 5 years, considering the acquisition of LVMH? New projects, new projects in common coming.
Oh, for sure. So myself, I joined the brand in 2020. So when I joined the brand, we were less than 40 people in the company, so very small company. And today we are above 80, and it's likely that the manufacturer will continue growing thanks to the acquisition with LVMH. I think this strategic acquisitions will really allow L'Épée to support its growth, but to grow faster. I think our challenge is that throughout the years, our business kept growing, yes, and our CEO was reinvesting a lot in the manufacturer itself to build up a nice vertically integrated manufacturer, but you reach some kind of ceiling, transparent ceiling, where if you need to grow and faster, you need additional support. So we're grateful to be part of LVMH Group now, and this will allow not only to benefit from all the synergies a group like LVMH can offer, but also continue developing amazing creations under L'Épée. I think could be more complex projects, because if you look at some of the recent projects for a small independent brand like us, for instance, the Albatross projects with MB&F, it's a quite great. It's a great investment and it's kind of heavy to support being an independent. So hopefully expect greater things, greater projects, and much more. I think it's and even a brand new manufacturer. This is also one of the goal we initiated. So, like I said, future is bright with L'Épée. The manufacturer is in great hands with amazing ideas, great projects to come. Even next year, you will see amazing projects and novelties. And of course, with the continuing of the integration of joining the group, such large group. But yeah, we are a small particle of dust in that galaxy, in that LVMH galaxy. But our goal is really to continue what we're doing. It's just with better support, better means, and but it's really to keep on what we're doing. I mean, we're on to a great kind of business model, so there is no reason to change it.
Okay, great. In terms of sales, what are your most important markets, and how important is Spain, considering that you are here in Spain, working with Rabat family?
Yeah, so L'Épée was lucky, and I think we worked around that a lot, not to be depending on one particular market. I mean, in the past years, we put many efforts to support all regions. And if we look now at our network, we could say that we are strong in almost everywhere. And we are probably working with some of the best retailers from the watch industry. we're grateful to have really successful partnerships. So if you look at the entire Americas, the United States, Mexico, Europe was probably the slowest market when I arrived. It was also during COVID, and now Europe is really back. It's a really dynamic market with more, I think, more opportunities to come for sure. Middle East always has been a strong market. Europe, East Europe as well, and Asia is indeed a growing market that we are far from like exploding, and we're just entering this the market. If you look at China, for instance, and I can already tell you we'll be opening in Korea on November 1st, South Korea. So a very, quite important market, growing market for us, and it will be a kind of premiere because it will be our very first standalone point of sale. So it's something quite new for us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we nearly have about 100 point of sales, about 70 accounts worldwide. There are still markets to explore, obviously. But yeah, we looking back Spain, I think we are also really happy and grateful to be working with the Rabat family. I think it's probably this is the institution in Spain, and I think it's important to work with Rabat and Jordi and John because they understand the work done by the independents, and you cannot build up a brand without strong partners like that who really I always say when I meet our partners, whether it's the CEOs, the owners, or even the people on the floor, on the sales floor, they are our ambassadors. If we are here today, it's thanks to them, because being Lepe, a small company like us with very limited budget in terms of communication. So what's really important and what's really been working for Lepe is the work done by our partners. They really helped us achieve the results and the positioning through the word of mouth, through the explanation, because our objects are really new if you speak about those creative art kind of pieces, and there's still a lot to explain, to educate. So we're happy, and I think being in Spain with the major player, I think it's there's I think lots of opportunities to grab, to catch, but we get there step by step. And yeah, like I said, overall, whoever is part of the Lepe family now, I think has a good. I think we have a great future together.
Great. Chris Gazarian, International Brand Manager of Lepe 1839. It has been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfonso.
Having you in the talks of Doble Firma. I hope that you keep on surprising us next year with novelties.
We will for sure, and thank you again. Thank you so much, Alfonso, for your time.
Thank you so much.